Welcome back, everybody. This is round 5 of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. I'm your COVER1 host, James Bouligny. I have my co-hosts, Ryan Chadwick and Paul Harris.
How's it going?
What's up, James?
And Nick Thompson.
What's going on, guys?
All right, before we get into it, we got Wall and Gunter. That's the big game coming up. But before we get there, we got to thank our title sponsor, Whataburger.
Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back.
Chicken strips. Chicken strips. Chicken strips.
Ranch.
Ranch.
Buffalo. Ranch. Monterey Jack cheese.
The Whataburger Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich. A beautiful masterpiece.
All right, before we get to Wall, we got to talk about some 1A matchups. The 1A is not playing this week. They have a bye week. They got state. It's state championships for 1A. Shall we go ahead and talk about Jayton real fast?
All right, so 1A Division II, we got Jayton versus Oakwood. Now, this matchup is actually really interesting because Oakwood actually beat Oglesby, which was a big surprise to
because
anyone.
Oglesby beat Richland Springs.
Yeah, so like not only did Oglesby beat Richland Springs, but they're a constant, returner to Jerry's world. I could definitely have seen them winning the state championship this year, but Oakwood beat them last week 54-51. On the other side of that matchup, you have the Jayton Jaybirds, South Plains team that has just completely dominated pretty much anyone they've run up against this season. I think they have 45 everyone in the playoffs except for last week when they won by 42 points. But this matchup could be good. I don't think it will be. I think Jayton takes this one. Oakwood has lost 5 games this year, and yeah, I don't know, Paul. Like it's one of those matchups where I wish that you could pick the 2 best 1A schools, but this is definitely, in my opinion anyway, going to be one of those lopsided state championship matchups. I think Jayton's got this.
I think so. If it's Jayton Oglesby, you could see it being a great game. But that being said, I mean, Oakwood, 5-loss team. Nobody saw this coming, but they pulled off the big upset last week. I wouldn't completely count them out. If they're capable of beating Oglesby, you'd think that they could possibly play with Jayton. I think Jayton was the champ all along. I mean, Jayton has just been a powerhouse all year.
Yeah, ranked number 1 all year too, like in the standings. So.
Right. So they're going from start to finish, looking like the best team in the state. And I don't think Oakwood stands much of a chance, but we'll see what happens after what they did last week.
I'll go Oakwood in this one just to add some flavor to it.
I'm gonna
honestly,
chime in and
Nick.
say watching Jayton last week at Friendship was interesting. Just talking to Josh Staniland, the head coach, he was even telling me that this is the first time, like you said, that this is the first time they've gone to 4 quarters that last game. They pretty much smoked them every the first half. So I agree. They looked so good on Friday. I think they're contenders for state.
All right. What about 1AD1?
So we got more South Plains representation. Whiteface has actually made it to the state game, but unfortunately they're playing another powerhouse in one way, and that's Gordon. Gordon, is like Jayton, has pretty much 45'd everyone on their way to this state title game appearance. Beat Abbott last week, and that was supposed to be a good game. Was not a good game. Gordon just shellacked them, just like they have everybody else. So Whiteface is a very talented running back. Paul, tell me about him.
Yeah, he's all-state last year, Ethan Kaufman. And I mean, in Water Valley, he gave them a lot of trouble last week. And Water Valley's, got one of the best defenses you're going to see in 6-man. So, this is Whiteface's first appearance in the state championship. Gordon's the defending state champion. Is that going to play a factor? I don't know. But, man, Gordon was impressive last week, taking down the number 2 team in the state by, I believe, 41 points. That Whiteface Water Valley game was a great game. Water Valley, they lost by 20. It was a 6-point game late in the third quarter, I believe, maybe early in the fourth. If it goes a little differently, Water Valley could have been playing for the state championship.
So if Water Valley doesn't fumble in that situation, right? So they get a stop, they're down by 6, get the ball back, they fumble, and the game kind of gets away from there. How different is it if they don't fumble on that drive?
Man, they've been playing catch-up the whole game, and I think that was such a deflating moment for them, and then Whiteface goes back up by 2 scores, and that kind of was the end of the game. But hats off to Water Valley. First year back in 6-man, making it to the state semis, knocking out Westbrook the week before. And, They've got Landon Lacey, their spread back, coming back next year. They've got the leader of their defense, Boston Weiss, coming back next year. So this wasn't just one of those a flash in the pan kind of deal. Water Valley is going to be a contender for the state title next year.
All right. Let's move on to Wall and Gunter. Before we get there, though, since 1994, Angelo Bolt Industrial Supply has served the Contra Valley for 30 years and counting. Angelo Bolt is the go-to place for fasteners, power tools, air compressors, safety equipment, and everything in between. Chances are Angelo Bolt will always have what you need when you need, and the odd chance they don't have exactly what you're looking for, they'll find it fast. No request is too big or too small for Angelo Bolt, located at 808 Warehouse Road, where customer service is a top priority. Thank you, Angelo Bolt, for bringing us all of our coverage of all things sports in the Contra Valley. All right, we got it, Gunter and Wall. Wall's made it 5 rounds deep. They beat Canadian last week. Blew them out. I didn't think it was going to be that. I thought Canadian was going to give them a game, and they just completely manhandled Canadian. What do you think, Chadwick? You were there.
I will say that I thought that Wall was going to win. I thought this was their year. Everyone knew that Canadian was a little down, and Wall has just been playing out of their minds over the last couple of weeks, but I did not expect the complete and utter dominance that the Hawks displayed. Just filming that game, I texted Coach Slaughter before the game started, more of a joke, and I was like, "Come on, man, Hawks by 50," and he was like, "Hey, I'll take Hawks by 3." Well, they only allowed 3 points, and they beat them by 46. So we were both kind of right there, right? But headed into this next matchup, you're playing the two-time defending state champion in Gunter. It seems like another one of those matchups where it's like David versus Goliath, but I'm going to be the first one to sit here and say it's not. Gunter, like Canadian, is a little bit down this year. They graduated some very talented pieces, including that quarterback who won the MVP in that state game last year.
He was a monster.
Yeah, he was, but that's what I'm saying. He was a monster. He's not there anymore. So
right.
Wall's defense has completely clamped down on these high-octane offenses, but more than that, they have completely transformed their offense into a powerhouse that can just score almost at will. They have a lot of guys who can just pop off at any moment. The only thing that worries me about Wall is they got the majority of their touchdowns throughout this playoffs off of explosive plays. You know, they make one move, they break a couple tackles, and they're just gone, right? Can Wall sustain enough tries against Gunter, to win this game? I am in Wall's corner on this one. I think that this is their year. I think they are going to punch their ticket to Jerry's World, but they're going to have to take down one of the most storied programs in the last decade to do it, and it's going to be tough.
What do you think, Paul?
Talking to Coach Slaughter, he was just raving about Gunter's defensive line. Says that they give everybody trouble. Anybody that played the whole season, they've given trouble. At the same time, I think Wall's offensive line has met every challenge. They protected Landon York. Landon York has been incredible. Like you said, he gets the ball to their playmakers in space, and so it's been one. And with that defensive line, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to get rid of the ball quick, On the other side of the ball, Wall's defense, man, what can you say? Holding Canadian to 3, that's the first time in 18 years Canadian's been held without a touchdown. That's unbelievable to hold Canadian to 3. I don't care if they're down a little bit or not, So I think Wall's defense, I think they're going to keep them in. And even if Wall's offense struggles a little bit, I think Wall's defense is going to keep them in the game. I'm just really, really fascinated by this matchup to see what these two powerhouses can do against each other.
Nick,
right.
you haven't seen them much this year, but I know you've heard us talk about Wall all year. What do you want to see out of this one?
Nick?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
so I think it's tough. I've heard a lot about Wall from y'all and from that area. Now, Landon York kind of catches my eye. I just happened to look. He actually has about 5 touchdowns per the last 4 games, and they've won about 11 games this season by over 20 points. So they seem to get the ball in the air, and like you said, Ryan, it seems like they've been getting these touchdowns off of just big plays. Now, what scares me, I kind of asked y'all earlier, is how's Gunter's defense? And they're good as well too. But my thing is, I think Gunter's just been there before. They know what they're kind of got to do in that sense. I'm not counting Wall out, but if I were to choose, I'm going to go on the flip side here. I'm going to take Gunter. I think they'll probably it'll be a high scoring game, but I think Gunter's going to take it.
We actually have score predictions right here for everybody. Paul went Gunter. Paul, 27-24. Ryan went Wall 35-31. Nick went Gunter 49-35. Lucas went Wall 17-3.
Man, Lucas wants that defensive battle.
And I went Wall 42-35. We knew Canadian had a good defensive. They had 50 sacks or something going into this game. They had like 15 interceptions going into this game. And I really thought Canadian was going to give them a better look than what they did. And Wall just went out there and dominated Canadian.
Yeah, dude. And what was most impressive to me is after that first drive, Canadian struggled to get past the 50. Like not only did Wall hold them to 3 points on that opening drive, which I think was the true turning point in the game. They hold them to a field goal. Then all of a sudden, Wall goes for it on the ensuing drive, and they score on 4th and goal. Like that was it. Like after that, Wall had to put up 2 more touchdowns, of course, to kind of seal that one. But like Canadian barely made it past the 50-yard line. I think they got in the red zone one other time the rest of the night. And so like I did not expect it. And so like that's what gives me the confidence, James. Like why are you picking Wall?
Why am I picking? I think Wall's going to one, the winner of this game is going to win state. I really think after their showing last week that Wall is hitting stride right now at the right time. Because everybody talks about their district. Oh, well, they didn't play the strongest district, and what are we looking at with Wall? We don't know about Gunter either. We know their stats on our max preps. So we're kind of flying into this one blind only off of what we've heard. And I'm going with Wall just because I think Wall's the better team. I think they're going to win it. I think Landon York is playing extremely well. The offensive line is playing extremely well. That being said, that offensive line has to play better than they did last week. They have to play the best they played all season. The entire team really has to. You gotta have those picks. I know, and I like Brylan White's drop last week. Got to have that this week, and he knows that. Like he knows, I have to make that play. He said it after the game. He was down. You just beat Canadian by
had a 4-sack performance. It was downplaying and saying I could have played better. And I'm like, come
exactly,
on, man.
Exactly. So Brylan knows he's got to make that catch. So all the defense has to play extremely, extremely well. Their secondary has to play well.
Yeah, they can't get burned.
That's the thing.
Gunter will kill you with the big play, right? And that's one thing that they did a really good job. They did not let any deep threats beat them against Canadian. And credit that defensive front for Wall. They were getting pressure with 3 and 4 guys. They didn't have to blitz anybody the entire night. Made that quarterback's life very uncomfortable. But they can't allow the big play. Now, both these teams have lost this season, right? No one's undefeated. Gunter's lost 2 games. Wall's lost 1 game. But I will say no one's lost to anyone at their level, right? So Gunter's 2 losses came to a 4A school and a 5A school, while
Salina and Anna.
Yeah.
Who are both extremely good.
Extremely talented.
Yeah.
Shoot, Salina's still playing, right? So Salina's a state semifinalist as well. I mean, that game wasn't close. Salina dominated and just, smacked them. But my point is that's the caliber of team that Gunter's lost to. On the other hand, Wall also lost to a school bigger than them. Not as talented. Brownwood is very down this year. I don't think that they're very good. But
they line up and play today, though.
Yeah,
Wall's winning that game.
And Slaughter agrees. I was just about to say that. I talked to him at practice, and he said if we line up and play Brownwood again, we beat them by 20, 25 points. And I agree with that. But it's just one of those toss-ups, man. I feel like you have to give Gunter the edge just because of the pedigree, but something about these Hawks is different this year.
Hey, man, everybody talks about they've built an empire up there. I've seen their facilities. They have a drone fly through their facilities. Going to state this many times, being as dominant as they've been, they have an empire up there. But every empire throughout history has crumbled and fallen, right? So Wall needs to be the plague in this one and bring Rome down. Anything else? Anybody?
I like the analogy, man.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Make the Wall be the Visigoths, man.
All right, moving on. Show your Hawk pride with a custom cookie cake from Great American Cookies. Celebrate in style with a treat that's as sweet as victory. Find us next to San Mark Tunson in the Sherwood Way Shopping Center at 4553 Sherwood Way. Great American Cookies, where every occasion is worth celebrating. All right, Chadwick, you got the playoff lineup in front of you. Let's just run through them real fast and talk about it.
So we're going to start off in 6A Division 1. We got North Crowley versus Duncanville. This game's going to be – all 6A games are played on Saturday this year. That one's going to be at Allen's Eagle Stadium. Duncanville has the edge in that one, but North Crowley is not a slouch by any means. They dominated Allen last week. The other side of that matchup is Galena Park North Shore, who was in the state championship, lost to Duncanville last year, versus Austin Westlake, another perennial powerhouse team. That one's going to be in Katy. In Division II, we got Southlake Carroll versus Longview. This matchup is interesting because Longview defeated the defending state champion DeSoto last weekend, and it was not close. So I don't know if that was just DeSoto having a bad game, but the final score on that was like 50-27 or something like that. They hung 50 points on the defending state champions. Southlake Carroll, not as good as I thought they've been in the past, but hey, state semifinals, here they are. Friendship should have beat them, though. Summer Creek versus Vandergrift is the other side of that one. No matter who wins this matchup, I think the Southlake Carroll Longview is going to be the state champion. Moving on to 5A. In Division I, we've got Denton Ryan versus Highland Park. Denton Ryan is the school that barely took down Lubbock Monterey. It's another school that we cover. But since then, they've been dominating everyone. Speaks well to Lubbock Monterey. And then on the other side of that, we got Angleton versus Smithson Valley. These two games are going to be played at Frisco's Ford Center and Baylor's McLean Stadium on Friday and Saturday. In Division II, we got Argyle versus South Oak Cliff. Welcome back to the state semifinal, South Oak Cliff. They lost the state championship to P&G last week, avenged them in the region final last week. That game was a good one. That one's going to be at SMU's Ford Stadium on Friday. Then we got Randall versus Bernie. And again, just like in 6A, I think whoever wins this one's losing to either Argyle or South Oak Cliff. That one's going to be at Baylor on Friday as well. Moving on to 4A Division I, we got West Plains versus Salina. West Plains, of course, is a school up near Amarillo, and Salina is north Dallas. It's about as north as you can get. That area has exploded in population lately. They moved all the way up to 5A. Salina is a very talented team. I hate to say it for West Plains, but I think this is where the road ends. That one's going to be in Abilene, Shotwell Stadium on Friday at 7 p.m.
After the wall game.
Yep, after the wall game. So, and then on the other side of that bracket, we got Kilgore versus Lavernia. That one's going to be in New Caney. Where's New Caney, guys?
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't even know that was a town. In Division II, we got Brock versus Carthage. So this will be one of the games that we're actually at this weekend. You know that Brock, in their history with Wall, they were rivals whenever they were 3A D1. Now Brock has moved up to 4A D2, so they still remember us, though, and talked to a couple of the guys from Brock this week, and that should be a good game. We're finally going to see what Brock's medal is like playing in the 4A. That one's going to be 7 p.m. Friday at McKinney ISD Stadium. On the other side of that bracket, we got La Vega versus Wimberley. Wimberley has been playing well. Expect them to continue to do so. Down to the 3A in Division I, we got Paradise versus Malakoff. Now, Paradise is the team that beat Jim Ned 10-7, and they just keep winning after that. They play defending state champion Malakoff, however, and that one's going to be a good one. I do think Malakoff has the edge in this one. That game's Thursday at Frisco's Ford Center. On the other side of that bracket, we got Columbus versus Edna. James, I'm going to let you talk about Columbus for a minute, man.
Columbus is really, really good.
Yes they are.
This is one of the games I was thinking about going to if it was somewhere in between or, Campo or something like that.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's in Houston.
But their Schobel, their coach, ex-NFL player, their quarterback is his son, playing extremely well. Grayson Rigdon plays there.
Yeah, I was about to say, who's our running back?
No, I got to him. I was going to get there. He is completely blown up. I mean, what a story from that kid to be at Benjamin.
Win all those state championships.
Exactly, win all those state championships at Benjamin. Now he went to 11-man, 1 year in 11-man. He's signing with North Carolina State, or he signed with North Carolina State. Is there any other 6-man player that you can think of off the top of your head that signed with a D1 school like North Carolina?
Troy Aikman from Oklahoma. Right?
He played 6-man?
I'm pretty sure he played 6-man, man. Someone fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure he did.
We'll for sure do that.
I'm pretty sure he played 6-man in Oklahoma, though.
But Columbus is playing extremely well.
I have no idea. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That being said, Edna, of course, they beat Llano last week. Llano was still in it up to last week. So this should be a really, really good matchup. I'm excited for that one. If I could be there, I would. But I'm going to be at Abilene with Mr. Thompson here. Continue, Chadwick.
All right, so we also have, in Division II, we have Wall versus Gunter. Of course, we have fleshed that one out as much as we can get. Go Hawks. Woodville versus Tidehaven. Tidehaven finds themselves back in the semifinals. Of course, they appeared in the state championships 2 years ago. Lost that one to Gunter, and it wasn't close. That one's going to be Thursday in New Caney. Apparently, that's a popular place to play. Moving down to the 2A in Division I, we got Stanford versus Hamilton. Nick, I want you to talk about Stanford for a minute because, of course, we watched them just pick apart the Post Antelopes last week, and like much to our chagrin, we wanted to see the Bold Gold do a little bit better than they did. But talk about the Stanford Bulldogs.
I agree. I was hoping to see him in Jerry's World, but that was a tough matchup. That team is just dominant, man. They couldn't. The Post couldn't do anything. I mean, there was a couple times where they would throw a couple passes and get down the field a little bit, but I mean, there were so many fourth down stops that they just stopped them. It's insane to me. So we're sitting there on the sideline like, no, Stanford is going to be a true contender this year. So I definitely think they're going to take that one for sure.
That being said, though, Hamilton is playing extremely good football.
Yes,
I don't think anybody really expected them to play as well. I mean, they're 14-0, and they played some teams in Brady's district. They played early. They played Clifton, and just beat them, pretty well. They played Crawford. Crawford, I think, had a pretty good run last year. Mm-hmm. Beat Crawford. Then they played Ballinger and Bangs, and Ballinger's score was 35-13. Bangs was 46-8. Heiko was 36-0. De Leon was 35-28. And then in the playoffs, White Wright was 49-13. Frankston was 27-14. Cairns was 14-7. And Axtell last week was 15-14. That being said,
is it skin into their teeth, or they've just been playing well?
I mean, a win's a win.
Yeah, a win's a win.
But I do think I will agree with Nick there that quarterback Christian Duran from Stanford's finally getting his time.
Man, and those running backs, they just have so much speed, man. Like, it took 3 or 4 guys, no matter what, to even get around them when they were playing post. And
that was insane to me. Every time they snapped the ball to him, it just seemed like they had 4 guys just trying to pull him down. That dude's a tank.
Yeah, no, congrats to the Bulldogs on that one. And I said this to Nick last week. I'm like, you're watching a state champion play right now, So, but that's only if they get past Hamilton, and then of course they have to play the winner of Joaquin versus Ganado. And you want to talk about another team who looks as good as Stanford, if not better, and that's Ganado. So those games are both going to be on Thursday at 7. Stanford's going to play Mineral Wells, and Ganado's going to be playing in. Help me out here. Shenandoah's Wood Forest Bank Stadium. Yeah. Sorry about that. That's a mouthful. And then, of course, in Division II, we got Groover versus Munster. 2 very talented teams. They've been playing a lot of common opponents in South Plains and the Concho Valley. And Bremen versus Shiner. And, of course, Shiner beat Junction last week. We were this close to having so many West Texas teams in there, man. But, again, both those games are on Thursday at 7. One is in Groover and Munster play in Childress, and Bremen and Shiner play in Cypress.
Yeah, I want to talk about the reigning state champs. Duncanville, DeSoto, Aledo, Port Neches Grove, Anna, Gilmore, Malakoff, Gunter, Timpson, Albany, Gordon, and Benjamin. They are the reigning champs. Of those teams, only 4 are still playing.
You want to talk about how hard it is to repeat,
Right. No, Duncanville, Malakoff, Gunter, and Gordon are the only teams that are still in it. So heavy is the head that wears the crown. Because
hopefully after this week, there'll only be 2 returners. Hopefully Whiteface and Wall get a win.
I mean, the one is they've already made a state. There's no winning games.
That's true. Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully Gunter's out, and it kind of shows the talent. It kind of shows the talent too that these other schools have. Is there's a lot of churning going on. The fact that you have only 4 teams left that are still there.
Anyone who says parity is a bad thing doesn't like real football, in my opinion. Who just wants to watch people dominate every single year?
Well, that too. So let's just see where it goes. Speaking of dominating for the past couple of years, we're going to talk about Liberty Argyle when we come back with this message from Jim Bass Ford.
Right now at Jim Bass, scan our QR code and find great deals on cars and trucks. Right now, you can get a brand new 2024 Ford Ranger, just $31,777.
You can only get deals like this at Jim Bass Ford, Houston, Hart and Arden Road, or 24/7 at bassbunch.com. Or you can scan this QR code.
It's QR code, boss.
That's what I said. QR code or QR code.
All right. Last Saturday, I went to Waco ISD, for the Liberty Christian versus Parish Episcopal State game. They played once in the regular season, 8-point game. It was week 8. It was Liberty Christian's homecoming. In that game, Chase Garnett went down with an injury. He came back in this one and had himself a monster game. They won 45-24. Tight game in the first half. It was like 24-17. A lot of drops. It was cold. It was wet, raining, kind of raining the whole game. And it was just kind of miserable out there. Chase Garnett ripped off like a 70-yard touchdown run in that first half. Brady Jadusik had himself a game. He's a receiver for him. He's an Oklahoma State baseball committee. He's going to be Gunter Diller's teammate. He had 126 yards and 3 touchdowns. Garnett had 2 touchdowns. Their quarterback, Quinn Murphy, 19 of 30 for 274 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air. They played extremely well. Their defense, if I'm saying this wrong, I'm sorry, but Maddox Sakura had a sack. C.J. Witten had a sack. He actually had the last defensive play for the game, tackled Sawyer Anderson, their quarterback.
His dad proud, huh?
Oh, he was. He was really proud. And, I mean, that's what Witten said after the game. I talked to Jason Witten after the game and got an interview with him, and he said, he's just some of the best memories he's had on a football field. He played for the Cowboys, so it's probably true. but yeah, it was a great game. And Sawyer Anderson, I think he's going to Purdue. He's the Parish Episcopal quarterback. Great player. Played outstanding. But the defensive backs did their job. Jalen Pyle, I think he's going to San Diego State. He had an interception. He had a couple catches. Quentin Brown had a couple catches to extend drives. He's going to Boise State. The running back Garnett's going to the University of South Florida. I just want to congratulate the Liberty Christian Warriors on their second state title win.
2 in a row.
And I hope that Witten sticks around. I don't want him to go. I know there's a lot of talk about him being the Cowboys' next coach and everything.
James, Deion Sanders will be your next head coach.
Well, I think is Cooper Witten still there? He's a sophomore this year. He had a really good season his freshman year. Had a good season this year. Stay there and can win some more state championships. Why would you leave? Everyone loves you there, so stay there.
I mean, everyone loves him in Arlington too.
Cowboy fan love is different.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's different. But anyway, I was just trying to, hey, it was a great game. Taps has really good programs, really good schools, and like I said, they're D1 athletes all across the field. Quinn Murphy, the quarterback, he's a junior. He's committed to Baylor, so he's playing really well, and he played outstanding. I think he transferred in this last year from Austin Regents or Region. I don't remember exactly where they said. Regents somewhere, and played extremely well this year. I think he had like 3,000 yards and great player. Happy for him. Happy for the community there. And yeah, it was a great game. But let's move on real fast. For any banking needs, go to Texas Bank. Proven local strong side customers refer to Texas Bank, one of the most successful banks in the Lone Star State. Texas Bank is a full-service bank with over $2 billion in assets, and they operate in 16 locations from El Paso to Dallas-Fort Worth, including 3 right here in San Angelo, located 2201 Sherwood Way, 1850 North Chadburn, and 4206 College Hills. Texas Bank staff are your friends, family, and neighbors. All right, Chadwick, you want to talk about Texas Bowl game, you and Nick?
So, yeah, the Texas Tech got an invitation to the Liberty Bowl. They're going to be facing off with SEC and former Southwest Conference opponent Arkansas. The Razorbacks are pretty much having a pretty down year. They finished the season 6-6, opposed to Tech's 8-4. I got to give Tech the edge in this one. They've proved that they can beat more ranked teams than Arkansas has. But SEC bias and everyone's gonna pick Arkansas anyway. So they're playing in Memphis at the Tiger Stadium there, and man, did Tech get hosed on this one. So they're doing renovations on the south side, right? And guess what side the Red Raiders got, right? So there is no upper deck on the entire side that the Big 12 was awarded tickets. whatever. Anyway, I do think that Tech's going to win this ball game. It depends on who starts at quarterback. I know that Baron Morton was dealing with a shoulder injury at the end of the year. But with that being said, if Will Hammond gets the playoff or the bowl experience, I'm all here for it. The freshman played incredibly well against TCU when he got in the game. Wish that one would have turned out a little bit better because we wouldn't be in the situation if it would have. But, of course, lean on Taj Brooks. He has another chance to pretty much move up the Big 12 all-time rushing leader charts a little bit. I don't think he's gonna catch third or second place on that one, but he's had an incredible career. With that being said, the transfer portal players will not be playing, and that includes five-star out-of-high-school receiver Micah Hudson. Found out today that he's probably going to go to Texas A&M.
Aggies are happy.
Won't miss him. If he don't want to play for the Red Raiders, then don't let that door hit you on the way out type thing. But, Nick, I've given my spiel. What do you think about the Red Raiders' chances against the Razorbacks?
You kind of stole a lot of good points there. First of being, I agree. I'm a little mad about, but I mean, hey, we're not the ones going there. It's just why not schedule at a different stadium? But hey, I get the tough to do that, but I guess renovations are. It's just the Big 12 bias. I feel like we get the end of the stick a little bit sometimes. But I think, Tech's won, 3 or 4 of the last bowl games? 3 of the last bowl games. And Arkansas doesn't kind of seem too much of a big challenge. Now, I'm not 100%. I didn't catch that. You think Taj Brooks is going to play this knowing that he's going to the draft?
Yeah, I don't see why he would. This last time to put on his pads as a Red Raider. I don't think he's going to run the ball 30, 35 times. I don't think he wants to risk getting hurt, but why not suit up with your guys? I think he's proven time and time again that he is the type of player that will play for his teammates. And if I'm wrong and he's like, hey, I'm going to save my stock for the draft, you know what, Taj? You've earned that right. You're Tech's all-time leading rusher. You're one of the top 5 in the Big 12 of all time. You finished 3rd or 4th in the NCAA this season. You should have been a Doak Walker finalist. Still think he got absolutely robbed there. But I don't know. Like he might sit, but I don't see him sitting.
I'm not saying he'll make or break this game. I still think our offense is very high octane. Like we'll still get the job done. But it will definitely help. I mean, if it's the first quarter or something, get a couple touchdowns in there to get us in the lead. That'll do. But I think Tech definitely wins this.
All right. Moving on real fast. Looking for the best buffalo wings in San Angelo? Head on over to the Arclight Bar and Grill located inside the Clarion Hotel at 441 Rio Concho Drive. Their variety of wing flavors is second to none, featuring options like raspberry chipotle, ghost pepper, Nashville hot, sweet heat honey, teriyaki lime, everything rub, and the classic hot wing. Relax and let the Arclight toss your wings to perfection while you enjoy the largest video wall in West Texas, surrounded by 20 other flat-screen TVs. Pair your meal with one of their daily drink specials for the ultimate dining experience. Visit the Arclight Bar and Grill inside the Clarion Hotel at 441 Rio Concho Drive in downtown San Angelo. All right, Nick, final thought real fast. Give it to me. You probably want to talk about Jerry World, right? Let's talk about that, man, if you want.
Yeah, I'm excited for Jerry World. My personal final thought was going to be the South Lake Carroll game. I have a high school sweetheart couple that went to South Lake Carroll, and they even think that Longview might smoke them. So we'll see. I mean, they've played against Friendship. I think Friendship held them pretty well. I was at that game. That was a really good game too. But we'll see how that goes. But no, Jerry World's next weekend. I'm excited. It'll be a fun time. I'll be interested to see that the gigantic stadium around me, and then being on the field and actually filming down on the field. That'd be so cool.
It's super fun. Ryan,
12 games in 4 days, Nick. Get ready for it. But anyway, my final thought, my weekend is completely loaded. I'm going to be covering games on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so it's going to be an interesting one, but this is why we do it, right? This crunch time in playoffs where we're at the point where we're going to decide state champions and who's going to go and who's going to sit, and especially when we have our local schools in West Texas, South Plains and Concho Valley making it this far. With a shot to get into state. I know the South Plains have already secured their state spots, but you know how long we've been rooting for the Hawks to get to this point and get back into the state game. So I'm just, again, thankful I'm here.
Paul?
Yeah, I guess I just want to give a shout out to our local teams making the runs they did. Texas is a huge state with so many good teams. So you got, Water Valley making the state semifinals for the first time ever. You got Junction last week. They were in the state quarters for the first time in 15 years. Just ran into a juggernaut against Shiner. For them to get shut out, when they were averaging over 40 points a game, that just says a lot about how good Shiner was. And then for Wall, First time to make it to the state semis in 8 years. Slayed the Dragon last week. Just awesome to see our local schools make the big run like they have. And Wall's the last man standing now, so hopefully they can take down the biggest dragon there is in 3A football. Hopefully they can get past Gunter. I think Wall's good every year. This year they're another level. They deserve to be where they are. I know I picked Gunter, sorry Wall, but I think that Wall's capable of it. So just congrats on making it this far, and hopefully they can keep on going.
I do want to talk about that Wall game. I'm going to be there. Nick's going to be there, so we're going to have two angles of this one. Gunter is extremely good. I'm not saying anything about you picking Gunter. They've been here before. They know it. They've been here. We all know Wall's been to state, and they've played extremely well. They're playing now. My final thought is our Cover1 awards are going on. Be sure, coaches, to get your nominations into Paul Harris, and parents, if you have your player you want to nominate, or fans you want to nominate somebody, go ahead and email us and shoot us emails. Don't dog on other players or your coaches or anything like that. Just send us your nominations. Say, hey, this is who I'm nominating, and we'll, of course, we're gonna look at them. We want to give as much recognition out to these young men as we possibly can, and just have fun doing it. Obviously, this is San Angelo Live Cover1. These are our awards that we're giving out, so we're excited to do it again. But for myself and Ryan Chadwick, Paul Harris, and Nick Thompson, stick around for the post-game show coming up.